Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening to this episode. We just wanted to make a quick disclaimer before you move forward in listening. We do have mature topics on this episode in which we cover words like chastity and abstinence. So if you are uncomfortable with those terms and the mature language, then please have listener discretion.
Sarah and Max, an unlikely pair in this wild podcast. They're the perfect flair. Sarah's charm, so feminine and free. A Cali girl spirit under the podcast tree. Max, a strong force with a punch in every word. Together, they navigate the dating absurd. Don't forget to hit subscribe, join the crew for more laughs and tales just for you. Now back to the show.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Good for Shidduchim. I'm your host, Sarah Levine. With me, I have my co-host, Max Landisman. And today we have a really special guest, and I'm very excited for you guys to hear what she has to say.
Yeah, me too.
Is your is your mic on?
Is it not on? Can you hear me?
Now.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, so guys, we have we have how many followers now on Spotify? We have a couple followers now.
Spotify's 32,
20,
but
32.
Instagram, it's growing. It's over 100.
Instagram, we're at 101. So, yeah. So thank you guys for following us on Instagram. Please like us, subscribe to our podcast so you guys know when we're coming up with a new episode and you can be up to date. If you would like, you can email us at goodforshidduchim@gmail.com just to be in touch with us. Somebody did ask us to read her resume, but
someone new?
Yeah, but
really?
Yeah, we have to go over that.
We'll do that later. We have a guest on. We definitely want to hear what she has to say.
But without further ado, please welcome my friend Mckall. Mckall, welcome.
Hello, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, we're also really excited. So what we really wanted to talk about is different cultural backgrounds in dating, and we interviewed Naima, which who you actually know, and she had a lot. She had a lot to offer, like, to the podcast, and a lot of good discussion, lots of eye opening to different cultural backgrounds and how they date. So we did want to interview you because I know that you come from a Mormon background, and we just wanted you to tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your culture.
Sure. Naima really set the bar high, so I'll do my best.
It's okay.
She is so fabulous.
She is.
And I loved listening to her episode too. About me, so I am Mormon. We have a few nicknames. The official name is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Mm-hmm. But we go by shortened Latter-day Saints to LDS or Mormon. We'll respond to basically any of the above.
Okay.
I grew up Mormon. My parents grew up Mormon. And I was born and mostly raised in Utah. I did move to Texas for a little bit of middle school and all of high school, but ended up back in Utah for college, which is where I started dating my husband, who is also Mormon. And, we have short dating periods, and we get married young, and that's what happened to us as well. So that's kind of the background. Do you want more details?
How old were you when you got married, and how long did you go out for?
So we were 22.
Okay.
And so we met in the 6th grade. Okay, this is what I like to.
That's so cute.
To caveat it with.
That's why she
we
moved to
met
Texas.
in middle school. Yeah, I had to get out of there.
Yeah, I hear that.
And then we didn't keep in direct contact, but I maintained some of my friendships with some of the people he was close with. So when I moved back for college, we just reconnected through our mutual friends, and we dated for about 9 months, got engaged, and got married 5 months after that.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So is 9 months considered like a long time by you, or a short time?
A year in Mormon culture, like dating for a year is about standard.
Okay.
Oh,
Gotcha.
okay.
And And 22 is an age that's like, oh, like that's nearing the like
You're
a
almost
little
over the
bit
hill.
older.
You're almost.
Yeah,
What's
literally.
the over the hill number in by you?
Um, I would say probably like definitely 30,
Oh,
Okay.
third.
but
Okay. Wow.
That's like
most
kind of the same
people,
for us. I feel like
yeah,
when people come to 28, 29, they get into like this panic mode.
yes.
Well, but I think by us, it's like it could be a lot less. Like people by like 25,
20,
they feel like they're
right,
already
20.
out of it.
That's true.
In a
Like
way.
Oh yeah.
26.
No, no, no. That's true for us too. Like if you're like we get married in college. So
Mm,
like if you're not married by the time you graduate college, like the like overarching like fear and uh kind of like the nuance around not being married after like college and when you're nearing like 24, 25, like that's when people like are
start to
like
panic.
you feel like people are judging you, like the older generation is like, oh,
Mm,
they're 25, like still haven't found a spouse, like what's wrong with them?
oh,
Does
wow.
that go
Like that's
both?
definitely,
Yes,
sorry, what was that,
so
Max?
I was gonna. Sorry to cut you off. Does that go both for guys
No.
and girls? Both?
Yeah, I would say yes.
Mhm.
Um, definitely, definitely for guys. And
Wow.
yeah, I would say for both.
Really? So definitely for guys. Really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, so this is something that is more particular to the Mormon religion than I think others, but when we graduate high school, we are encouraged to serve church missions.
Mm-hmm.
And mm, guys can go when they're 18 and they serve a 2-year mission, and girls can go when they're 19 and their missions are a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, when we start college, a year or two late usually, and so there's a little buffer to like get married by the time you're like 24.
Hmm.
But
Oh, gotcha.
then after that, it's kind of like, okay, what are you doing with your life type of
Yeah.
situation.
How could
Wow.
you not be married by 25? My gosh. Yeah.
Exactly.
I totally get that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the people that are older, like, are there like, do you guys have like matchmakers or people that try to set up the people that are looking to get married?
Not officially. Um, so within like the actual church, our congregations are divided into like family congregations. They're called
Mm-hmm.
wards,
Mm-hmm.
and there's family wards, and then there's student wards for the kids in college that aren't married but still are going to church,
Mm-hmm.
and then there are young single adult wards.
Mm.
So, what did you just ask? My brain started just
Oh,
rolling.
no, I was wondering, like, for people that are, that are
Oh, the
looking and that
matchmakers.
are
Okay.
single, like, where do they even start? Like, do you guys have
Yeah.
matchmakers, or do you have, like, within the community, people looking out for each other? I didn't know, like, if you guys have, like, anything, like, formal, for people that are actively looking.
I don't think so. Um, People like the single adults go to, the wards, and that's just church on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
There's like leadership over each ward, whatever. So like those wards are in place to like bring people together who are in like similar phases of life. So
Mm.
that's kind of the only thing I can really think of. There's not like a particular matchmaking process. But I do know like there was a girl I worked with when I lived in Utah, and I think she was like 24, 25, and I was younger than her, and I was married, and our other colleagues were similar her age, like mid 20s, like mid to late 20s, and they were always like, "Oh, I have my brother's friend is single, like let's set you up," to the girl who was
Oh
single.
my God.
Like there's definitely like the let's get you married culture.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Why even me? Why not
Yeah.
just get this done?
Exactly.
Right. Oh my goodness.
So nothing official, but it's definitely like there's definitely pressure.
Yeah.
So the people that aren't married yet, like how do people usually meet each other? Like, is it organically?
That's what it sounds. Yeah,
It
that's what it
sounds
sounds like.
like organic.
Yeah.
So like, but I feel so bad. Like if you haven't met your person by college or a little
Yeah.
earlier in high school, then I guess it's a little bit harder because especially you guys want to marry like into the same culture, same faith, right?
Yeah, for the most part.
For the most part. So it's like also like for us, if you want to marry a Jew, Orthodox Jew, then like the pool is already small, you know?
Yeah.
So I, like, do like the singles who are like above 22, like, do they feel like, I don't know, like sad and like, is there like a support for them or do they feel lost? Do they feel like they're not a part of the community?
I feel like there's probably a good mix of people feeling like, yeah, they're missing out. They need to, find their person, get married fast, whatever. But I have met quite a few people who, when me and my husband moved to New York, we met a few couples out here who had gotten married at 26, 27, and they're like, they had the time of their lives, graduating college, and they then, moved to New York, starting their jobs, and they really enjoyed the time that they had not being married super young. But I know people who like really do like go out of their way to date a ton and try and find their person, and those types of people are the ones that are worried and just feeling that pressure. So yeah, it's not the greatest situation.
Right.
And there's issues with getting married really young too, like
Right.
the divorce rate is what, like 50%, like that's accurate within like the Mormon culture as well.
Oh wow.
So,
now I'm gonna ask a stupid question. Can they get divorced?
no. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
My brother actually just got divorced.
Oh,
Sorry to hear that.
I'm sorry.
You know what? He is happy
Okay,
about it.
that's all that matters.
Yeah, he's like mostly on the other side now. Like he's doing great.
Yeah.
But there is stigma around it, right? Like,
Yeah.
they got married when they were young and divorced. He's 27.
Oh my
No,
God.
he's 26. He's 26.
So young.
He's a baby.
Yeah,
So
he's
young.
a baby.
He has
Yeah.
so much ahead of him. Oh my Lord.
Totally. But like within that like culture, and like obviously Utah, there's tons of Mormons in Utah. We call it the Utah bubble. Like within the Utah bubble, like there is so much stigma around divorce and getting married young, having kids young. Like it can be toxic.
Like if someone gets divorced or whatever, it doesn't make it that much harder for them to remarry, because if someone's single, they just hear like, oh, this guy's divorced, I'm not going to go out with that guy or girl. Is that the case over there?
I kind of thought so. My brother is like one of the only close people, like people close to me that I've been able to like, see and hear everything up close and like how he's feeling about it all. And he actually, like, by the time the divorce was finalized, he was ready to start dating again and like jump right back into it. And the girl he is dating now didn't have an issue with it. And there wasn't within his divorce, I'm not gonna like speak for him or go into too many details, but it was mostly amicable. No one cheated, no one like was abusive in the physical sense.
Right.
So it was just kind of like
just didn't work out.
A clean break. And his new girlfriend was super empathetic, and I don't know if that's a rare case or if people who do get divorced have a harder time kind of getting back into the game. But just from his experience, it was relatively a forgiving cultural like experience for him, if that makes sense.
That's nice to hear, but I will say, like, parallel to our culture, like, if you get divorced, it's another label, you know? It's like, oh, she's X age or he's X age and divorced. It's like a double whammy, you know? Like, oh, I don't know if they'll ever be able to find someone.
Not good for shidduchim.
It's not good for shidduchim.
Definitely not.
Yes.
So that's why, so that's what we were asking, you know, to see if there was, like, it sounds like there's a little bit, like, a little bit of it, not as extreme, I guess, in Mormon culture, but
yeah. I mean, there's the stigma, like, I feel like culturally around divorce, it's just always like it never, and not even culturally, like
globally,
generally there's like a stigma around divorce, like, oh, that person must, you know, be screwed up, like that's why they got divorced, you know. You do have that label, like,
right.
I think it's there to an extent, especially within like serious religion. So yeah, kind of lame that's there, but it is.
Now, do your parents, like either your mother or your father, are they involved with when you're dating somebody?
A little bit.
Who's the nosy Nelly, your mom or your dad, or both?
Definitely my mom, more so.
I hear.
Yeah, I would say more my mom. And like, I feel like my parents were and are very understanding. I never felt a ton of pressure in dating or getting married from them. They were very much of the opinion, like, go live your life, date around, you know, be smart.
Right.
And you know, I dated a little bit in high school, and actually dated a guy for my entire junior year of high school. And the summer before my senior year, my mom sat me down and she was like, I had a boyfriend my senior year of high school, and it's one of my biggest regrets.
Oh no.
Because it was, you're so young, you don't need to be that serious with someone as a teenager, and usually, or not usually, but often your paths separate when you go to college. And and she just felt like her senior year of high school was just like, she was just worried about her boyfriend. She wasn't having fun. So she sat me down. She was like, I think that you should think about breaking up with your boyfriend. And I actually listened to her.
Oh,
and
good for you. Not a lot of people would.
I know. It was kind of naturally like going that way with my boyfriend at the time anyway. So it wasn't super hard to make that decision. But then, yeah, I did end up having the time of my life my senior year. And
Nice.
That's good.
yeah.
So listening to your mother can work out. This is great.
It can.
It's amazing
Parents,
for everyone's listening.
Parents know sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I was going to say, if you can decipher what's the good stuff from the bad stuff.
It's true.
So, okay. So it sounds like your parents, like, did they check in on you when you were dating your husband, or like, did they want to know about his cultural background while you were dating him? Like, were there a lot of questions about him while you were dating?
So they knew that he also was Mormon. And my parents still lived in Texas when I was in college and dating my husband. And we were going to school in Utah, dating in Utah. So there were a handful of times that they hung out with and met him in person before we got married. They definitely, so he went on a mission for our church, which is a really big, like, relief to a lot of parents. Like,
wow.
that means like, oh, like, they're serious about living their life still in this religion, and they'll, you know, be able to be a good partner with you within the church. And so that's a big checked box if the person your child is dating has gone on a mission.
Oh, okay.
So after that, I feel like they just kind of, like, I don't remember tons of questions from them about him. Like, they hung out with him, and he is incredible. He gives off great vibes. So they were mostly just like went off of that, and they trusted me.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, that's nice. Well, what happens if you are dating somebody and he's not in the faith? Like, he's not in the culture, he's not Mormon. What happens then?
So, it's I think it would depend on your parents and kind of their expectations for you. I did date a guy who wasn't a Mormon in high school, and he was older than me, which was a bad tick, a strike from my parents' point of view.
Okay.
And I think that it never got serious enough to where like they were worried that I was gonna run off and marry him and like not be a part of my religion that I grew up in anymore.
Uh-huh.
But that I think that is a definite fear, is that kids leave and don't follow in the same footsteps as their parents.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a common occurrence, or it's like really a one-off type of thing?
To marry or date someone not within the same religion.
Or to just give up the religion totally?
I feel like more and more recently I'm hearing of like people leaving their religion, and most of the time it's after they've gotten married. But
Really? Wow.
it's not super common.
Gotcha.
I would say most people who grow up as members of the Mormon Church remain members of the Mormon Church, and at least until they're married.
Okay, I got you. Yeah. By the way, before, when you were mentioning that it was a big red flag, were you also mentioning that he was older, or he just
Yes.
was really
Oh.
like how much older?
He was 2 years older than me, and the thing was, I had just finished my junior year of high school, and he had just finished his freshman year of college. So
Look at you. I mean, what a grab.
Mckall.
Like, yeah.
no, my parents were like, you still have a year of high school left. What are you doing dating a college guy? And like, what is a college guy doing dating high school girls? Like,
That's
that
another
is
question.
Not,
Yeah.
that's
Listen,
not it.
I don't know.
I think Mckall was the most popular girl in our class for sure.
The heart wants what it wants, as
Yeah.
that's what my 17-year-old self tried to
Your
tell me.
17-year-old heart. Yeah.
I hear.
Yes.
I hear. That's funny.
Now, Mckall, are there like dating rules when you're dating seriously? I would say like in the Mormon culture, like are there specific rules that you and your partner have to like abide by while you're dating?
For sure. Yes.
And
you-
percentage-wise, how much of that is kept?
Yeah.
You don't have
okay.
to talk about your
Personally?
specifics, but yeah.
Totally. So chastity is huge. Not having premarital sex is it's basically shoved down our throats from the time we know what sex is, like by adolescence. And honestly, anything more than like making out is very frowned upon.
Can you like
reason-
hug? Can you hug or like hold
Yeah.
hands? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, if they can make
Yeah.
out, I assume they can hug.
Well, she said anything. She said beyond making out.
You're
Yeah,
putting
I mean, like,
you're putting hugging above the making out. I think
I don't know, just like touching in general.
you're just trying to get specific. Okay,
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Sarah's enjoying this very much,
no.
though.
Just listening.
Yes, we can hug, hold hands, like kissing, but besides that, it's super frowned upon, and that's why everyone gets married super young and fast.
Right.
Yeah.
Because for the most part, the people that I know and like was like going, like my friends that I was like, we were all kind of dating guys at the same time, kind of got married at a similar timeline, and none of us had premarital sex. And I think that is pretty common. beyond that, I'm not entirely sure. Like there are different processes you can go about um like repenting, and like if you got handsy, am I allowed to say that? Like if you got
I don't
handsy,
know.
Sure, say whatever you want.
Say whatever you want.
if you got handsy, you are encouraged to talk to like your church leader, your local church leader, which is the
Oh, I
bishop,
understand. And like
and you
repent,
kind of confess.
confess to
You
your
confess
sins.
and repent.
Mm.
Yes.
Like,
And
yeah.
yeah, no, that's basically it. And
Hmm.
try to be good until you get married.
So you gotta tell your church leader like the details, or like you could just say it in a generality, because either way sounds like a pretty harsh.
Yeah.
Like I can't even
Horrible
imagine.
situation.
It's so
I
like
was
so awkward.
embarrassing.
so-
Yeah.
So
I was
awkward.
so
That's-
deathly afraid of having to talk to a bishop, like when I was in high school, that I truly was like, I can't, like,
You're like, it's
I
not
know
worth it. It's not worth it.
it's not worth it. No, it's not. And it wasn't. And like, it depends. Like, this is kind of weird. There's not like a direct, like, there's not like a script that the bishops, have to give you when they're when people are confessing.
Mhm.
It's really up to them. And like I know some who were like fine with generalization, and some wanted details, which is so
That's
creepy.
That's a little weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like that's definitely a subject in the church and like the culture that has like been coming to light a lot more frequently. Like, okay, like let's figure out a better way to do this. Like this puts a lot of like makes people so uncomfortable.
I'm
And
trying
what
to
is
think.
this like middle-aged man like?
Want to
It's
know?
weird.
Yeah, no, that's weird.
It's weird.
I'm trying to think. Is there like anything that we don't do? We don't like.
I mean, for us, it's more private. It's a
Right.
private.
It's
thing.
private. Like if you decide to
between you
touch
and
each
God,
other,
really.
or like to like hold hands. Yeah, it's between like you guys and God.
I mean,
like
in
we don't have
general,
to confess.
I mean, whatever you do, yeah.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
I think what would be hilarious if you were dating the bishop's daughter or something like that,
Oh my
and then you
gosh.
got to tell the bishop,
Yeah.
hey, so this is kind of what I was doing with your daughter, whatever.
Literally.
Oh my god. But that, yeah, I can only imagine it being like really crazy.
The bishop's gonna be like, no, you should do it this way.
that would be like, get out of here.
Oh gosh.
Or like, yeah. Oh, that would be so embarrassing.
But it is a great way to keep the order. Damn. Like I
I
wouldn't
mean,
want.
or just like,
Fear? Is it an?
or
I mean,
kids
it's
are
not to
just
help me,
doing it and not telling the bishop.
When you,
Yeah, for sure.
I
There's some of
assume,
that.
like, yeah, it's very difficult to kind of come
Like
up.
if somebody would tell me in high school, like, if you do this, you have to go tell the bishop, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. And they, like the other side of that is like, okay, well, if you don't talk to the bishop, like if you don't confess,
Then you feel guilty.
the guilt will
Yeah,
eat you alive.
Mm,
Is-
inside out guilt.
Is it only guilt, or is there something like, well, your marriage will be terrible if you don't confess, something like that?
Well, if you are like on the course to get married, you really like we get married in our temples, and in order to go to the temple, like you do have to actually go through an interview process with like the local leadership, like your bishop, and then like an even broader leadership, and his role is called the stake president. Just like a larger rule, like he's like the bishop's boss, basically.
Mm.
And you go through those interviews to be married into the temple. And, the questions that they ask a lot of them are about like chastity and like the law of chastity. I don't know if that's a generalized term or if that's like the term that they use in our church, but they ask you about that, and you can totally lie. Like you can say whatever you want, but if you do lie, the repercussions of that are like, God knows that you're lying.
Mhm.
And like, what's your end goal? Like, it's in your best interest to confess and just get it out of the way.
Right.
And if you have premarital sex, you have to go through a repentance process that's longer and would delay a wedding.
Oh, wow.
Like
If
significantly delayed, or
Like a year?
I believe it is a year.
wow,
Whoa.
that's a long time.
Yeah. Um, if it's anything else, it usually doesn't delay anything. You just kind of have to work through your process with God, and I don't even know if the bishop really stays involved much more than just like an initial confession.
Mm.
But yeah, that's kind of the process.
I hear that.
Wow. Now, are there other things that like you have to take into consideration though when you're dating? Like, I know you guys don't drink alcohol, right? You don't drink alcohol, and you also
Correct.
don't have caffeine. So, is it okay though to still go into like a bar or like a place that would have these things while you're dating, or are people gonna look at you and be like, "Oh my God, like Mckall's, like in a bar and she's like she shouldn't be there," or you guys like are you restricted to any place of dating?
No, no, you can go to the bar as long as you,
Order
don't
apple
drink.
juice or whatever, like I do.
Yeah, and
I get water.
we can have caffeine. First, it's like this is called the Word of Wisdom, and it was written so long ago when basically the only forms of caffeine were tea and coffee. And so specifically those are written into the Word of Wisdom. You can't drink tea or coffee. But nowadays we can just put, a full Red Bull, a Monster in our bodies, and that's not technically in the Word of Wisdom, so you're not really breaking any rules. It needs to be revised, but that's the consensus of that. So I could go to a bar and order Diet Coke or a Red Bull and be fine.
Okay.
Can you order a decaffeinated coffee or it's just all coffee?
Yeah, probably.
Gotcha.
And like,
Sorry, go ahead.
it says like coffee, tea, or hot drink, which is like so broad.
Yeah.
And
Hot
Hot chocolate. You can't have hot chocolate. Oh, man.
chocolate,
No,
I thought
everybody
our
drinks
laws were
hot
tough.
chocolate. That's why it's kind of like it's arbitrary, and most Mormons don't drink coffee, but most Mormons do drink some form of tea and definitely caffeinate in other ways.
I feel like
okay.
there should be some stat out there that because if Mormons can't drink coffee, that means they don't go to Starbucks all the time. That means they're all wealthier than the average person in America because they don't spend $6 billion on coffee.
It's also like I just actually went to lunch with some of our work friends today.
Oh.
And my bill is always significantly less.
There you go.
I know, there it is. There it is.
There you
There
go.
it is.
Because they probably got drinks. They probably got like coffees. Right. Oh
When
my
they were
gosh.
writing this law down, they're like, look at all these suckers get screwed over by the coffee.
To be honest, like I haven't been having like Starbucks, and my paycheck has been pretty steady. Like it's
Nice.
been pretty good.
Yeah, the Starbs.
The
will
Starbs,
always get you.
exactly.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Is what's it called when okay, you got married, you moved to New York. Now for your child, when they eventually grow older, do they have to go back to Utah? Is that how you kind of find a match, or New York is perfectly fine? How does that all work?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that is a great question. Typically they're like most people do go back to Utah to date and get married, like find your spouse and get married. BYU is like the church funded university. My husband and I went to Utah State.
Nice. Good football team.
But yes, they do have a pretty good football team. Jordan Love actually came out of Utah State.
I was just gonna say that. I didn't know if Jordan Love was there when you were there though.
Yes, he actually was my last.
Oh, that's crazy.
2 years of college. So.
Wow.
Oh,
that's
nice.
awesome.
But yeah, so raising my son, like personally, like I don't want to like pressure him into going to school there just to find a spouse.
Right.
There are Mormons at every school. There are like the young single adult wards and like church congregations literally everywhere in the country, outside of the country. So if he wanted to go, yeah, if we live here forever and he wants to go to NYU or Columbia or wherever,
There's
um,
bound to be some community.
yeah, there is community. There's community everywhere, and the biggest pot is going to be in Utah because that's where a lot of
Right.
people go. Also, BYU is so cheap.
Is
Like
it really?
Oh wow.
if you're a member, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like under 10 grand a year.
Really? That
Wow.
includes everything,
Yeah.
room, board, all that stuff?
Yes. Yes.
Really?
It's
Wow.
so cheap. Yeah. So and it's a pretty like I think it's a pretty good school. I don't know. They were our rivals, so I don't like to talk very well about them, very highly of them.
No
But
hard feelings.
that's like kind of the consensus is if you want to find a spouse that's within the church, you're going to have the most options in the Mecca of Mormonism, which is Utah.
Right.
Gotcha.
Like, and is there any like dating websites for Mormons at all?
You know, I honestly don't know. I'm sure
Sarah,
there
there's an
are.
opportunity out there.
I know.
folks.
Should
Come
we
on,
start it?
seriously.
There you go.
Started by two Jews who
Right, of
don't know
course.
it, like, who are
what do you
ignorant.
expect? What do you expect?
Ignorant
I've
Jews.
been out of the dating game for my husband and I have been married for 7.5 years.
Congrats,
So
nice.
thank you. But I'm just like so far out of the. Tinder was new when I was in college.
Oh.
Like, so I know it's come a long way since then. Do people even use Tinder? I feel like I hear a lot about Bumble.
People do-
Hinge. I hear a lot about Hinge.
Hinge.
Well, in our
Yeah.
world, yes, but
Yeah.
a colleague of mine
Sure.
told me he had a friend who actually met his wife on Tinder. It's almost like hard to believe, like someone actually got married off of Tinder,
Yeah.
but it happened.
It happens.
I feel like it does happen, and you know, there probably is an app, or like if you're in Utah, like the chances of
Yeah,
you finding a Mormon on one of the general dating apps is probably pretty high.
right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for sure. Bumble's got something.
I'm sure.
Whatever.
I'm
Yeah.
sure they have like filters. So like if you do
True.
really want to marry somebody of the same culture, same faith,
Yeah.
that you can put it on there.
I living in New York. First of all, how long have you been in New York?
4.5 years.
4.5 years. Are you familiar with a college called Yeshiva University, otherwise known as YU?
No.
I don't
So-
know. Oh, I was gonna say I don't know if Naomi spoke about it.
So no, because I think it's hilarious because YU is our BYU.
Yeah.
What
Okay.
makes it so fun? It's like strictly all pretty much Jewish, and pretty
Yeah.
much everyone goes there to meet their spouse for the most part.
Yeah.
But it's the same colors, like everything. Like the only difference is you
White
guys are
and blue.
way better at sports than we are. We're in like
Oh, yeah.
Division 3. We're in like the accounting championships, but you guys actually can play
Love
sports.
But good call, Max. That's exactly why you and Stern.
Anytime I've seen BYU play, I'm like, look, it's YU. It's like the
Well,
exact
also
same
the
jerseys.
names
Exactly.
sound familiar.
They're
Or
literally the
sound
exact same
similar.
thing. Yeah.
That's
And-
hilarious.
No,
Yeah.
that's a good call.
And I would like to plug in that Utah State quarterback Brandon Love is way better than the BYU's quarterback. He's like benched on
Thank
the
you.
Jets. He's
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. Zach Wilson.
he's
boo.
looking for mothers in the stands he can date.
Oh my
I know.
god. It's such a disgrace.
I call him Zach Milson actually.
Oh my goodness,
Oh my god.
Max.
I actually memed it. I took like a template on Canva that looks like a cover of a magazine, and I
That's
put him on. I
so
can send it to you
funny.
after, but that's fine.
Oh my
Please.
lord.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
But anyways, thank you so much, Mckall, for
Yeah, this was
being
great.
with us. We
We really
really
appreciate it.
appreciate it. And out of you're a mom
having
and
me.
you have a busy schedule, so I really do appreciate it. And thank you so much for sharing everything.
Yeah.
So nice and so eye opening.
Yeah.
Totally.
Okay,
Totally.
well,
Thanks for having me, guys.
yeah,
Absolutely,
sure.
thank you.
Well, take care, and I'll see you later.
Yeah. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Good.
Okay, so Max, what did you think of Mckall?
First of all, well, you framed it like what do you think of Mckall? She's married. Gosh. What did you think of the interview?
What did you think of the interview?
I loved
Yeah.
it. This was great. It was a really good insight. I didn't know much. I knew a little bit, but not much before.
Yeah.
But I actually kind of like a lot of the things she said, such as you know, they kind of date for like a year. That's more my take. Like, I'm really
Yeah.
in favor of going out for a year.
I'm actually shocked that like they're okay with dating. Like for us, I feel like it's like a long period of time, like quote unquote long period of time.
Right.
But I thought she was gonna say like maybe 3 to 5 months.
I was thinking she was going to say that too.
Yeah, and I was shocked that she said 12 months.
I think it's just so funny how things correlate. Meaning with us, the standard procedure is no touching at all of any kind.
Right.
So it's like you can't make it to month 3 or whatever it is. But like with Mormons, you can kind of kiss and do that kind of stuff. Nothing more than that. So like, okay, a year is like, but like you can do whatever you want. Like people just date for 6 years and then afterwards they're like, yeah, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, exactly. No, at least it gives you some time frame of like where you guys would be.
I think the level of touching means how long you're dating for.
Maybe.
I mean,
she didn't really say that though. What you said.
No, I'm just saying. It's just
in general?
It's an observation.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, each couple's different. I don't know, whatever you guys decide.
I just no, but based on what she said, where people generally date for a year, they allow certain
to
things,
hold hands and to hug,
and that kind of stuff, but nothing more than that.
Right.
So like, okay, a year. Like
right,
by us,
that.
they're not really, into anything at all. Mm-hmm. So like it's by us generally it's 3 to 4 months.
Maybe sometimes weeks. People do weeks, like 6 weeks.
Weeks is like really, but in general, like 3 or 4 months. So I'm saying like I think the more you restrict, the shorter the engagement is, I guess, or
I guess so.
The time to engagement. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting. I thought there would be more repercussions though if you didn't marry somebody in the faith and like your parents really wanted you to marry a Mormon. I thought that she would be like, yeah, you're like disowned. But it sounds like they're just more of like, we're disappointed in your choice not to marry somebody Mormon. But it sounds like everybody, like they're pretty supportive of the decision if they do end up doing that, which I also was very surprised about.
Yeah. What's great though was the fact that they put people together who are in similar situations, such as single people are put together with single people. You mean
like in college?
Well, not just in college, in church.
Oh, right, yeah, in church.
Where essentially every week you get together with people who are like-minded like you, and you feel like you're a part of a community. I think that's really important.
Yes.
And but my all-time favorite was if you do something that if you're rounding second base or whatever it is, then, especially with the bishop's daughter, you gotta go. I'm sorry, sir. I was doing XYZ. For the record, she enjoyed it very much.
Oh my God, Max.
But I gotta confess, I thought that was the best. I'm sorry, like that was amazing.
I mean, but it's not like everybody does do confession, so you have to be like really it's
brutal.
Okay to do that. But
I mean, anyone who can survive that, like you,
I feel wow. No good. Like, listen, you are forgiven. You're going through your faith. Throughout the board. Yeah. Right, you're doing what you need to do. So like, yeah. I thought overall it was really nice, very eye opening. I mean, I knew that Utah was like kind of the state of where Mormons live and where they usually thrive. Right.
Did you know about BYU connection?
No.
I always view them as like the same. We all know it's not, because BYU is in Division 1, which is the real division. We're in like the accounting division.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Division 3, whatever.
I wish I followed up on this stuff. Yeah. I really don't. But
yeah, Utah State, the NFL quarterback, first round went to
It sounds like he's legit. Yeah,
it's a legit school, but yeah, let us know what you think. Feel free to email us, goodforshidduchim@gmail.com. Hit us up on Instagram at, again, goodforshidduchim.
Can't miss it.
That's right. Yes. And hope you guys enjoyed. Anything else to sign off on?
No, I'm just excited about next week.
Definitely. Until next time.
Bye.
And remember, everything will always be about shidduchim. Catch you in the next episode.